Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I know that the Honorable Prime Minister and the parliamentary representative for the area was trying to greet everyone outside. I know it's almost impossible to do that, so I'm going to allow him a few words to say some greetings.
Thank you very much, Lachim. First of all, I want to welcome everyone. And I want to apologize for having to postpone from last week, Wednesday. An urgent matter came up. Sometimes it happens in the lives of all of us, but in the case of the Prime Minister, it comes up pretty often. So I want to apologize about that, but I want to welcome all of you who are here, those immediately under the tents and those who are listening on the perimeter. Just to indicate that what we want to do this evening is to have a conversation about the health facilities in Byera. And we're going to have the professionals who will speak to several of the issues, and we have professionals here and also in the audience. There are two matters centrally which we're talking about. The building of a well-appointed temporary clinic. It's temporary only because we're going to build a beautiful one. But we have to build a temporary one first, down at where the old school used to be. You're going to be at the site of where the chapel, the Anglican chapel, used to be. We bought the land from the Anglican church, the government that is. So we're going to build that. And that's not going to take too long. Hopefully finish early next year. And we'll start this fantastic modern clinic on the very site where the old one is. After we build the temporary one, we'll break down the old one and build this fantastic clinic, smart clinic. It's going to be real beautiful. The two facilities together. The two facilities going to cost about $4 million. The temporary one is about $700,000. Similar to the temporary one which we have built in South Rivers. If you pass it, it's a lovely clinic. But I'm going to build another beautiful one in South Rivers, just like I'm going to do in Byera. And then this one here will take about 12 months to build. So we're going to have a temporary facility, which would be beautiful, but this one will be fantastic. And they will go through and tell you what they're all about. That's the first matter. The second matter is that I want you to begin to give consideration. You don't have to give the answers now. But I want you to begin to think about it. That when we move over to finish construct this fantastic modern clinic, the smart clinic, I want you to think about what we're going to use the temporary one for. One suggestion I have is to make it a wellness center with a gym in it and some other facilities. But that's just my idea. You may have a different idea. So that's the third thing which I want to give some thought to. And we'll come back and talk more about that. The fourth thing I want you to give some thought to is a development plan for the whole area where the old school used to be. Obviously, we have to do city fence, which is very, very expensive. But I want you to give some thought as to how we should develop that area. It's going to be a beautiful part in the community in Byera, a center of activities. So those are the four things. Principally today, the temporary clinic, then the smart clinic, fantastic one, then what to use the temporary one for when we move out, because it's going to be a lovely building, $700,000. And then we will, fourth thing, the development plan for the whole of the area, including the sea defense. I want us to do something real nice, and I want us to think about those things together. I have my own ideas, but I don't want to impose my ideas. But I want to make it a real nice center of activities. I know the first thing comes to your head. What about the shops which are there? Well, we'll incorporate all of those things, but we'll have a beautiful development there in the community development. It will be fantastic. A lot of places will envy Byera because of that. And I'll put aside a lot of money to do it. For Goss, Mangrove, Byera, and Chester Cottage. That's all what I want to say to begin. I will talk a little later after the professionals have spoken, but I just want to give you may be wondering what the whole discussion is about. This is what it is about. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister. And now we can, get into the meat of the matter, if we want to put it that way. So we start a little more formally. Honorable Prime Minister and Parliamentary Representative for the area, Honorable Ralphie Gonsalves, Mrs. Shiaka Bowman from the Ministry of Economic Planning, who is sitting at the head table here, and she'll be doing some of the presentations later. Senior members of the Ministry of Health, including Dr. Duncan and Sister Julie Douglas. We also have the staff team from the Byera Health Center here as well. Other senior members of the Ministry of Economic Planning and their team with us here. Representatives from BRAXA, who are part of this process as well. Other members, senior members of the civil service, ladies, gentlemen, residents of Byera and surrounding areas. Today we are here to continue the dialogue and the discussion, as the PM said, with you, the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and in the case today, the residents here of Byera and surrounding areas, on the development of the health system here in SPG. We have been embarking on this sort of dialogue, trying to get your own views, the citizens' views, and incorporate them into the plans that the Ministry of Health has for taking health and healthcare services forward. So, for example, we would have had, when we were doing the Chateaubriand facility, we would have consultations there. When we were doing the Barley facility, we had consultations there. We presented some designs in a similar way to the Diamonds community. We did the same for Georgetown and a lot of the smart facilities that we have around now, that have been built now. But we want to continue the dialogue, as the Prime Minister correctly said, to get your input on how these could be best built, or how we could provide the best services to serve you, the people. Today, we are continuing again the infrastructural development program here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As I speak, we are working on the Greg's Health Center. This is a entire health facility with staff quarters on the upper level, and we are about 60 or 65% completed on that facility. There were some delays on this facility because when we actually checked the roof, we had to go and take off the entire roof structure, which was not planned for before. So there's a little lapse in time there, extension of time. But we are working on getting this completed. And I've been told that if we don't get it completed by the end of this year, it will be completed just into the new year. We have the Lowman Cell Center again, which we were doing some work on, the upper level. This is about 90% completed and should be completed within the next couple of weeks. On the main road going down to in Cedars, we have what used to be the doctor's quarters in Cedars. We are thinking of doing some repurposing of this building here, and we have done some extension of that building, and you will soon see that we start functioning again from that building. After Hurricane Beryl, you know that we would have suffered some damages, especially in the Grenadines Islands. We are currently working to get these facilities up and running again. So we had facilities damaged in Myro, Union Island, in Canawan. In the case of Myro, the roof of that facility is back on, but they're still working on getting the windows and some of the smaller non-structural items back in so that we can function. In the case of Union Island, this facility, the Union Island Hospital, was one of the smart facility, and this facility, although it got some damage, it was able to maintain at least half of its roof and the plywood section on the entire roof. So we are able to actually just put tarpaulin on the entire facility and continue to function there. Since then, we have replaced the tarps and the spoiled plywood, the wet plywood and so, and we now have on a brand new roof on that facility. There's some works currently being done on the electricals because some water may have gone down into some of the conduits, and we are trying to get this sorted out. The 5 apartment staff quarters that we have there as well, we are working on this. The roof is back on. We are waiting on some windows and doors from the suppliers, the local supplier here. So we are waiting on them to deliver the windows and doors so that we can put on to that facility and have it running. The Ashton Health Center in Union Island, we have just started work on that about 2 weeks ago. The entire upper level of that was damaged, and then there was water damage to the lower level, which houses the health center. So we are still, that is work that is in progress there. At the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, we continue to do work there. Each year, we ask the Ministry of Finance to give us a sum of money, and we try to take out at least one of the wards, an entire ward of the Milton Cato facility, and redo this entire ward. Now, there are several wards. I think 3 wards have been completed thus far, with several other sections, like the outpatient sections. I think in radiology there was some work as well, and we are doing some work in the operating theater section. The major ward that we are working on right now is the female medical ward, and again, this is about 60-65% completed, and we are hoping after we completed this work, we are going to move on to the maternity patient ward. So this will be done next. We are also making preparations for a hyperbaric chamber unit to be installed at the Milton K2 Memorial Hospital. For those of you who don't know what a hyperbaric chamber is, it is a decompression chamber that is used for when you have recreational divers or fishermen going deep in the ocean to dive and coming up too fast, and they get what we locally call here the bends, right? And they have to go into this chamber, which gradually reduces the built-up pressure and oxygen and so in their blood. So we are currently working with the Ministry of Transport and Works. They had actually promised to provide a design for us by today on the platform, and the hyperbaric chamber has already been purchased and it should be shipped anytime this week. The shipping time for that is about 35 days. So next month sometime we should see a hyperbaric unit here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We obviously have the works for the temporary facility in Byrea going on. We have received the designs, we have received the costing, and I think this process is now with the Central Tenders Board for their approval before we enter into the contractual arrangements for and with Bragsa. Then we have the Diamonds Clinic, which we are working on. As I said before, we presented the designs in a similar meeting like this in Diamond, and the community looked at it and they said that, you know, this is what they wanted. In fact, they recommended some changes and increase in the size of the building, which we have redone, recosted, and we are now on our way to building this facility after we have done found a place to house the facility on a temporary basis. We also are focusing on a facility in Overland. We have already gotten the permission to use the land. You know, the Overland facility was probably the smallest facility on island. And that arrangement was such that we had a very small church in Overland. This is when the community was very small as well. The facility was rented from the church to house a small clinic just to provide basic services. Now this has outgrown its time, and we thought that it was necessary to improve the level of services that is being offered to the persons in Overland. They are in a temporary facility right now, but this new facility here in Overland is expected to be completed sometime by mid next year. Then we have the Byera Health Center, which for those of you passing on that side going down, you would see that the sea blast and so has taken a toll on the roof. So we have to do some corrective work on that facility and enhance its appearance a little bit. So we are working to get this facility here again refurbished. We have some costs now for this, so we'll be proceeding swiftly with this renovation. The Byrea Health Center, again, is going to be in for some refurbishment. We have, under the project that designed this facility, the OECS World Bank project, the Byrea facility is being supported. So the Byrea is going to have a smart health facility similar to yours that you're going to get here in Byera. And we are proceeding with this facility, hopefully to start the contractual arrangement in early 2025. The reason we are going back to 2025 is that we are currently working on repairing a section of the Daphne Community Center, which would temporarily house the Byrea Health Center and its function while the works is being done here. At your own modern medical complex in Georgetown, we are working to put in addition to the MRIs and so that we had placed there last year, we are working to install a new CT scan. So we are working on improving the room, and the rooms have to be leaded because of the radiation that could possibly pass through the walls and affect persons walking in the corridors. So we are waiting the lead sheeting so that we can finish the entire room and then move on to securing the new CT scan for that facility. Then we have the new and modern South Rivers Health Center that is actually going to be completed. The Prime Minister spoke about the temporary facility that we built there, but we are working on a new facility. The designs have been completed. We have already identified where it's going to be and all of that. I think that we are now waiting for the contractual arrangements and so to take place. Then our major project that we have is the Arnisville, the new Arnisville, we say acute referral hospital. And if you pass along the old airport in Arnisville, you would see that some parts, some sections of the airstrip has already had some work being done to it, and it's been dug up to put in the foundation for this facility. So we have already done the contractual arrangements. The Ministry of Finance and the Office of the Prime Minister have already secured the funding for this, and we are proceeding with this facility. Of course, this is a new 140-bed facility that we are going to operate there, and then we are going to maintain some sections of the current Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. The idea is to do a full mother and child health facility and maintain it at the MCMH. We've been doing other things like buying a lot of equipment for facilities, Milton Cato and Modern Medical. These are the ones that use the largest facility, the largest equipment. But we have been using equipment in the smaller facilities as well, and to replace those that we had damaged in Hurricane Beryl. In fact, we would have just concluded on an arrangement with the Japan Aid Project, and we would have gotten some $4 million+ in equipment to support our facilities here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So it is part of a wider expansion project, increasing of services. Obviously, the Arnisville facility is going to get additional tertiary level services here. So part of the expansion, part of the increasing of services for larger facilities, but also for our community facilities, which we think are important enough to give them this sort of attention that you're going to be seeing presented here. I think I've said enough there for now. So I'll call on Ms. Shiaka Bowman, and she would go through some of the presentations for the new Byera facility.
Good afternoon, Mr. Prime Minister, Honorable Dr. Ralph E. Gonsalves, my colleagues in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment. I am Shiaka Bowman. I would like to thank you on behalf of the Ministry of Finance, the Economic Planning Division, and most specifically my director, Mr. Ricardo Fredericks, for inviting us this afternoon to be part of this stakeholder conversation as we present to you the proposed new Byera Health Center, upgrade to a smart facility. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with a mandate to improve delivering the health service to all Vincentians, signed an agreement with the World Bank in 2019 to improve preparedness of our health system to natural disasters. Unfortunately, we are in an area that we are prone to a lot of hurricanes and most recently volcanic eruptions. Within the project, 3 facilities were assessed to be upgraded, one of them being the Byera Clinic. The goal is for us to upgrade it to a point where it will remain open in the event of a natural disaster such as a hurricane and, unfortunately, a volcanic eruption. What I would like to do today is to show you the proposed plans for this new facility. The existing clinic, I would say without water, that is more than 20 years old. It has weathered quite a lot throughout the time. Many, many hurricanes, tropical storms, and, dare I say, volcanic eruptions. The structure, while currently still in operation, is on its last leg. There are evidence of structural damage, termites, and other things that are making the building not safe. So the plan is to replace it, as the director would have introduced, the demolition of the existing and the construction of a new at the existing site. I would like to now introduce you to the proposed new Byera Clinic. You're going to see some words that, for example, smart. Smart in this context means that the building should be able to withstand a Cat 4 storm. Cat 5s are beyond the normal, but it should be able to withstand a Cat 4 storm with some features added to it, such as hurricane-resistant windows, etc. It will be also harvesting water, so we will have tanks, so in the event that we have loss in power or water, the facility can still run at maximum capacity. So my colleague is going to help me. I'm not going to go through every slide as presented. I'm just going to shift a bit. And there are some slides that I will not call on everything, but let's turn to the slide that shows the existing. So this is an aerial view for some location that we are all familiar with. Next one. Okay, so this is an aerial view just to give you some orientation. If you're looking at it, to your right, we have the cemetery, the existing burial ground. To your left, looking at it, we have a residence. We can see the house, and we can see the sloped areas above. So this is the existing site that we are talking about. I hope I'm in the right location. The site is currently relatively flat and enclosed with a masonry fencing. This is approximately 4 feet high. There are residential buildings and the burial ground on the east surrounding. The site is approximately 700 square meters, and the current building occupies just over 50%. So the intention is for us to demolish the existing and replace it with new. So here we have the new building. This is going to be a single-story structure with reinforced concrete beams and columns, with hurricane-resistant windows and hospital-grade doors. This structure, although now it's a single-story structure, is designed so if in the future we would like to add a second story, it will have the capacity, the structural capacity, to carry a second floor. Schedule accommodations, what we're going to put in it. As you can see, we're trying to make sure we capture all the needs of both the medical staff and the residents of Byera in terms of health services. So there will be a pharmacy department, consultation rooms, a triage or area for emergencies. So I've introduced you originally to the site plan of the existing. This is what we are proposing for with this new construction. This footprint is bigger. The new building will now measure 350 meters. There we will be maintaining the entrance and the exit, and there will be an ambulance bay for emergency access, which will be on the west side or the left-hand side of the screen. Here we have a 3D view of the new building. Important features will include site lighting provided within the parking area and the pedestrian walkway as necessary. Also, accessibility considerations are captured in the design through the following areas. All patient areas are fully accessible through internal corridors or external access ramps. Corridors and washrooms will be equipped with grab bars and handrails. And the door types and hardware, size and swing will all be within accessibility standards. This proposed front view. So this is us looking in from the road. East view, a view from the burial ground. Perspective view from the building east side to the main entrance. Here, we're maximizing natural ventilation in the layout by using larger windows. Part of SMART is also being more natural and using the environment to cool spaces. All the walls will be masonry blocks, or blocks as we know. The finishes all will be hospital grade paint, glazed ceramic tiles as backsplashes. The floor finish proposed will be standard and slip resilient vinyl, floor paint, and commercial grade non-slip porcelain tiles. Again, the doors, all hospital grade doors, solid timber and metal with vision panels, metal bifold doors, solid timber doors, and metal doors. Everything that we're doing will be in compliance with hospital standards, and all windows will be hurricane resistant. This is just an architectural representation of the floor plan. I'll just leave it a moment. Okay, this one will be good. Here, to make it easy, we have a 3D, a spatial relationship. The pink areas represent the staff areas. The salmon, I call it salmon, some person says orange, will represent the public areas. The green will be the patient area, and the blue support staff area. Circulation. Access and circulation is quite critical within a healthcare facility. Here we have highlighted the main areas. We will have 6 exit and 6 entry points accessible through unobstructed corridors. It's very critical that you don't have anything that is going to stop in the event of emergency. The main entrance to the building will be via the waiting area in the northern facade. The building can also be accessed by staff through a patient corridor on the northern facade and external doors. So not all the staff does not have to enter through the patient areas. right? Additionally, an independent access is provided for medical treatment areas to the west. All corridors will be wide. Some will be 1.5 meters. Staff corridors will be 1.2 or 1.5 meters. And the patient corridors, where we need the most space, will be 2 meters wide. So I'm just going to give you some additional elevations. This is from the main entrance to the building. From the roadway. View of the east of the building to the south. And this is just a video to walk you through our proposed site. So there we have it. And so on behalf of the Director of Economic Planning, I would like to thank you for again inviting us to present and participate. Thank you very much.
I think that we could do much, much better for that presentation. It is the first time I see all this technology. I mean, the building ain't complete yet, but we don't walk through the entire building and see how it's going to look and stuff. And the only thing I ain't see open up to now is the ambulance door. So, Shiaka, we have anything with the ambulance door? Okay, right. She said the ambulance had door, but the keys was out. Right, so that is how the new building is expected to look. And as we're saying, we're here to discuss it, and you would be able to throw out some ideas a little later on. I want to apologize for the Honorable Minister of Health, though, because he's not able to be here with us today. He was, in fact, in cabinet. In fact, the Prime Minister had to leave cabinet to come out here and be with us today. So the Minister was at cabinet, and then he had an engagement in his constituency that he had to attend to. So he would not be here with us tonight. But yeah, so that's a new building, and of course the Prime Minister spoke about the section, the temporary section, and the land available to do it, and the facility that is going to be built there, very similar to the one that was constructed in South Rivers, right? We have not done the contractual arrangement as yet because we are waiting on the Central Tenders Board to give us that approval. Hopefully it comes tomorrow when they meet, and then we could advance this. But we have already identified, along with Braxa, a possible contractor who could hit the ground soonest and run with this project. So we are thinking that we start the project, and if it's 4 months construction, we should be out of that project by February or end of February or so, and moving, sisters, staff nurse, moving into your temporary facility, and then we'll then demolish the old structure and make way for this lovely structure here. I'm going to hand back over to the Honorable Prime Minister, and he's going to make some remarks, and then we get into a little bit of discussions later.
Thank you very much. I think You see what I said to you, that is, this facility, this modern facility is going to be fantastic. It's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to cost $3.2 million. We are borrowing the money from the Saudi fund. You remember I went to Saudi Arabia with a package of a number of things, and one of the things was this modern clinic. Now, in the constituency as a whole, and Lachman outlined what we are doing nationally, but what we have been trying to do in the constituency is to, North Central Windward, is to improve markedly the delivery of hospital, diagnostic, and health center facilities. I know many of you go to Georgetown. The plant which you see at Georgetown, the Modern Medical and Diagnostic Center, the Smart Hospital, which we did over the hospital, and we have a smart clinic, 24-hour service, a wide range of services. The plant alone in Georgetown, those three elements, cost over $100 million. And I wanted to make sure that we had a modern medical and diagnostic center in Georgetown. Because as a man from the country, I don't think that we should centralize everything, though it is important for us to have a high quality central facility in the main population center in the country, what we are doing in Annisville, and I'll speak to that shortly. Before I come into detail, I want to set the context. I want to go from North Central, and then I'll go national. Now, you can get to Georgetown in 5 minutes in a minibus. If that facility didn't exist, or Brother Woods, I don't know if he's around here, he'd have been dead. Remember when he got his belly cut out? That's one dramatic example. We'll have a lot of high specialists up there. I was just told by Huck's wife, he had a problem since in his 30s. They did an operation on him today, sort him out, and sent him home to go lie down. Remember in the old days, you're growing up, you hear that people got stoppage of water. Either they have a prostate problem or they have a kidney problem, they can't pee. And you remember, I'll never forget, you all remember Gregory who lived down the bottom. Remember Gregory? The older ones would know. Gregory used to walk by graves. You know him, eh? Yes. You know who I'm talking about. Remember Gregory used to have to go to Barbados every week, 2 times, 3 times a week, to do something called hemodialysis, to clean out his system so that he could live. Well, we set up a major hemodialysis facility up in Modern Medical, well equipped. A lot of artificial kidneys. There is a private sector facility, small one. They charge you $500 a visit, and you have to do 3 visits a week. So that's $1,500 a week, a month. Sorry, $1,500 a week, that's $6,000 a month. 70-something thousand dollars a year. So in the old days, if you ain't got money, you're dead. Well, it costs us. We have 60 patients up there. 60 who go there to do hemodialysis. And for the disposables alone, for each of them, it costs $50,000 a year. I'm not talking about the money for the doctors and the nurses and for the machines and the building and electricity and water. I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about just the disposables. Do the multiplication. 60 patients by $50,000. That's $3 million a year. And I don't charge one single cent. We don't charge one single cent. So, of course, it's better if you take care of your kidneys rather than have to go on the dialysis machine. But if you're unfortunate and there are 60 people who go there, it's free. In the rest of the neighboring OECS countries, the best which came to that, they give, in Grenada, I understand they give 10 free ones a month. Well, if you ain't win the lotto for the 10 free, you're dead. But I can't watch people dead because of that. I can't allow it. I have to find the money somehow. That's one. We have operating theater up there. Up there is the headquarters for dealing with cancer in infants, you know. They have the machine up there where they make the chemicals, the medication for to deal with chemotherapy. And you have a specialist oncologist up there, somebody who specializes in cancer, dealing with cancer. Right up there in Georgetown. If you want to see what happened to your inside, modern medicine now can put something in your mouth and look down, and another one you can put it from your boomsy go up. You know, the Dr. Duncan, the one which goes up from your boomsy, what do you call that one? You have to do a colonoscopy. And the other one here is the endoscopy. So, you know how much you charge right up there? $40. $40. You and your partner go out one evening for you, and all you buy 3 for $10. That's the $40 gone there. You hear me? There are people who come from Barbados and St. Lucia and Grenada, pay the passage to come here and do it. I did a colonoscopy in Barbados before we had the one here. Roger, is $1,500 US I have to pay for it. $1,500 US for the doctor to spy up inside of me. Here, $40. It's amazing. And I know some of you would leave up here and go in town to say you're going by a private doctor. Some of us who ain't got money, we're trying to play Burmese, say we go in private doctor. The private doctor, they mean better than modern medical. So you just go up, just take you pay $1 and go up in a minibus and go and see the specialist up there. Yeah. How much is that drop from Byera to Georgetown now? Them boy carried to $2. All right. All right. But the point is this. We have fantastic facilities there. And it's connected to the smart hospital. And 24 hours with the smart clinic too, including all the outpatient things for clinics and everything else, including dental care and expanded dental care. And you have a pharmacy up there. You have a pharmacy up in Modern Medical. I went there and I saw a doctor up there a few months ago, and they gave me 2 prescriptions. They say I could go around the pharmacy and get the medication. I go around the pharmacy. The young man who was there, the young pharmacist, gave me, so I put my hand in my pocket to give him some money. He said, "Prime Minister, put away your money." I said, "Why?" He said, "You're not following your own rules. You say the elderly must pay nothing. You're in the elderly." I say, "All right, thank you very much. I'm glad for that." And you go up there, you ain't got no money, they allow you, a prescription, the most they charge you is $5. But I know sometime you go up there, or any of the clinic, any of the place, some of the doctors prescribe plenty things. So they give you 5-6 prescriptions. If you get 5 out of the 6, and you don't get the one, like that one there for the moment, they send it up from town, or the order in it's scarce or something like that, and you have to go by a pharmacy in town to buy it, and you have to pay $20. By the time you leave, then you go take the bus to go town. You trace Ralph. You see, imagine I go up there for the thing, it's one, me have to go town now, go buy something for $20. Never mind, you get 5 free, That you all gotta give me a break with them things there, Don't put them things upon me. Better pray for me. Don't put them things upon me. Pray for me for long life for bringing all these things. All right? No. That's those facilities there. The acute care hospital in Arnesville is top of the line. It's going to cost $200 million to build and equip. I want that number sinking. Listen to me. When I doing thing good. The other fellas say, Ralph got Marby pocket and champagne taste. Well, I finding the money though. I finding the money. Them can't find it. I finding it. I finding the money. $200 million. It's going to be where we have to pay for people to go away for a number of things. That ain't going to happen. And then we are going to keep, there's 134 rooms, as Lachim tell you. We're going to keep 79 rooms down at Milton K2. The rooms down there are going to be related to pediatrics, that's children, and maternity for the women to go have the babies. And we're fixing up the place nice down there too. And we'll have operating theaters still down at Milton K2 and some diagnostic tools with some x-rays and so on. And we will improve the whole area where we do the emergency medicine. If you get chopped up or anything like that, you go in there. But there will be emergency also at Arnesville. And of course, we have emergency up at Modern Medical too. I'm providing for you first world medicine in a developing country. That's my aim. First world medicine in a developing country. No. And wherever we have shortages of skills, what I do, I bring medical missions with people with different expertise. The other day, you might have seen it on Facebook. There is a There's a young lady who had 2 children. One of them had a brain problem. They couldn't deal with it in St. Lucia. They didn't get the doctor to deal with it. They didn't get the equipment to deal with it. They came here, and we did it for her as we would have done for a Vincentian child, free. Free. Because St. Lucians are our brothers and our sisters. If we go there and we had to do something and they give we free, that's our problem, that's their problem. But you come here, you're our brothers and sisters, we do it for you free. Just like we do it for all Vincentians. In North Central, the clinic in Byera and the clinic in South Rivers were particularly running down. And we had to replace them. In Park Hill, we're going to do renovations, and the same thing down in Connery. We're doing good renovations in those 2 also. I have money for all of them. We went South Rivers, the same design, but I just want to show you how the prices of things go up. In South Rivers, we build a temporary clinic. The wall building now as you come over the bridge, when you come from McCracken, on the right side. Beautiful building. It cost $500 and something thousand. Let him tell me $520,000. This one here is going to cost $800,000. Close to that, 7 something. The reason for it is that price has gone up for building materials, but also we have to do some particular draining work down there, which we didn't have to do in South River, so that make it cost a little bit more. But if you all want to have an idea as to what that one will look like, walk up, go South Rivers anytime. I know a lot of mandos go South Rivers. You know, up at River 14 now. I know some of you start to laugh when I hear man go up South River. Man not go up there to look for anything. They just go on River 14. Did somebody say the man them from South River come by, right? Just for me to see. And as Lachim says, it's going to take 4 months. Lachim says the end of February, but I know how things go. If we start in November, and in December, they might finish about the 20th of December because a lot of people don't work all the way up to Christmas. And we start back all in the New Year. So we might lose a week, 10 days there. So I suspect it would go into March. But I tell him the sooner we finish it, the better, because when we finish it and we equip it and you move in there, the nurse is going to love it. And you're going to love it well. And the patients too. But you're going to love it half as much as you're going to love this one. So what we'll then do, we will take a month to break down the old one and then cut away all the stuff and then start to build. It's supposed to take us, this building here will take about 12 months to build. Of course, if we get plenty of rain or if we get a hurricane, it might set us back. But everything being normal, it should take 12 months. This would be fantastic for Byera. One of the things that I ask, dealing with health, I ask Lotto to help with see if we can do something to improve the playing field at GAS. Because that also is a health issue. Because though there's a good playing facility out at by Black Point, the one by GAS nearby, and has a certain history. But when we finish all of this, we need to have, my suggestion, when we finish build this, the temporary one, I think we should turn it into a wellness center. You can give reflection on that. With a gym. Nowadays, men and women love to go to the gym, particularly young men and women. Not just for those who are involved in athleticism, but as you know, that any time a new year starts, you reach January or February, a lot of the women like to go to gym because they want to look good for carnival. You see that happen? That's a usual thing. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. And we have to take wellness very seriously, because there are two silent killers which mash us up. Sugar and pressure. You don't know it happening. The truth is this: we build all these fancy clinics and all the rest of things. It is better, you have a hospital, you have a clinic. It's better to keep yourself very healthy so you don't have to go to any of them. But what we do when we're young and we're strong, we eat any and everything. We drink beer and strong rum. You don't know you're taking in a lot of sugar there. And when you make you make lime juice, sometimes it tastes like sugar water. You put too much sugar in it. You have to watch that. You have to watch that. Because that is why when you get the sugar, you get a scratch on your foot. Sometimes you don't know you have sugar, you know. And Dr. Duncan and the other doctors, I hear them on the radio. If you, as a man, if you have diabetes, what you used to do with your wife in younger days, you can't do in the older days, because so, no, I talk it like a joke, but it's true. So you have to be careful. I just want to add, I don't have sugar, yeah? I don't have diabetes. That's not an invitation, you know. I'm just taking that as a fact. And the pressure. Some of the same things that you're eating and not doing any exercise or anything gives you the pressure too. And especially if your family has a history of it. The family has a history of it, it creates problems. And you're going good, and the next thing you get a stroke. The stroke don't happen by accident, you know. So a whole set of young people getting stroke, you know. It relates to the pressure. Thing for your brain, all kind of different things. You have to be careful with those. And you have to listen to persons who talk to you about it, the professionals. Now we're going to have a big piece of land. We buy it, as I say, from the Anglican Church, down by the school. And we have to have a separate conversation on this. Because I want us to get together, come up with a good plan as to how we use the land. And make it a beautiful facility. For the families When I say developing this thing, I don't want a whole heap of rum shop down there and a whole set of bragger down, you know. I want us to have good, wholesome activities. So the families can go down there in an evening, Saturday, Sunday morning. The children enjoy themselves. A nice, safe, and loving and healthy space for people. We got enough rum shop all about. Thank you, we don't want no more. I know some rum man go vex with me and think, well, when you come ready, you must have a couple big rum shop down there. You know, you'll have a place of entertainment, but it has to be properly controlled. So that's a conversation. And I have to get some good money to do the sea defense to prevent the problem. It's a lot of money for sea defense. You see the sea defense, what we did in Caratal and Bronxtown, is over $15 million that cost. And it will cost more now. But when we put the sea defense, we have to beautify the place, put up some trees and so on. And man, look, St. Vincent is a beautiful place, naturally beautiful. We have an obligation to keep it beautiful and to improve it and plant more trees. These are simple, practical things that we can do. So that is my contribution. I know some of you would want to talk to me about burial and your house and building materials. And I want to tell you we have a good program going. We have to build, repair or build back 4,993 homes and 19,444 people live in those 4,993 homes. And the cost to repair and build them back, if we have to do all of it, is in the region of $400 million. I don't have the $400 million yet, but I have some money and we're building and we're repairing at the same time, because even if I had the 400, I can't do all one time. But I want to say to you, if there's any man or woman in Byera who is interested in working in construction, please, I want you to go and register with Ministry of Housing, BRAGSA, or the Housing and Land Development Corporation. Please, and if you know any contractor, any building contractor, I need more building contractors. I could be doing more than I'm doing right now. Between after burial to the end of September, we have repaired or in the process of repairing or give materials for self-help to 1,116 households. That's a lot of work in that short period of time. But I want us to do more. And as we get to rebuild those which have been broken down, and of course the worst place is Union. And even though I have the money, I can't rebuild houses without I have men and women to build them. They can't build by chance. It's not a lotto. And I doing my part. I want you to do your part. We have to work harder and smarter. Look, I believe I'm the oldest person here. But I work late at night and I get up 4 o'clock in the morning. In fact, when I I accustomed to that since I'm a boy because that is when I used to have to go Windsor to go milk cattle. In fact, when I coming out at bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, Eloise said to me, because when I store, she wake, she said, go on, go milk your cattle. I go on to my study to do work. I want to tell you something. I want the young people to listen to me. You have a lot of things. You have a commodity, which I don't have. You have a lot of time. Use the time well. The time I have left is coming shorter and shorter. Everybody but mine is closer. I feel bad about that because the good Lord has given me many years. But use your time well. Study. Get a skill. Be responsible. And right at the moment, let us work together in solidarity after burial to help to build back the country stronger and better. As I say, I am doing my part. And I'm the Prime Minister and I have a big part to play. But you could help to build houses. One of the things which I must tell you, I feel pained about. I saw it in Union Island. I see it when I drive about. People building houses. They got 6 workmen, but they could have got 10. And you got a strong man, bareback drinking rum. He ain't doing nothing. Malcolm, let we do this thing together now. I'm pleading with you. I'm talking to you, not like a prime minister talking to people. I'm talking to you like an older brother, a father, a grandfather, an uncle. Let we work together, man. Please. But today, if you have more questions about these 2 clinics, this modern one, which is coming, and the temporary one, I could answer, or the other, or the professionals here. I just want to say to the young people, those of you who are interested in nursing or being a medical doctor or a pharmacist or a medical technologist or to deal with radiology, that is to say people who are experts in the field of x-ray and the like, people who operate in the machines, the advanced diagnostic equipment like the CT scan or the MRI. The only one in the country is in Georgetown by Modern Medical. It's $10 million that costs, $10 million. And the prices are very reasonable to do the MRI. If you want to do any of these areas, you have to have some science base. So you go in school from primary school to secondary school and going on. Make sure you check out your sciences. Make sure you pay attention to your mathematics. Make sure you read and perfect your English language. And very importantly, have a good attitude. Because sometimes you could be bright and you're just terrible. But you need to have a good attitude. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister and parliamentary representative for the area. You can do much better than that for the Prime Minister. Always offering his vision, always challenge you to come up and join with him and make St. Vincent a better place, make this constituency a better place. The Honorable Ralph Gonsalves. What we're going to do right now, we're going to have a little open section where you can ask your questions or make some comments also. We have Mr. Hackshaw here, Surveillance Hackshaw from the Braxa team. We have Ms. Bowman, myself, we have Dr. Duncan here, we have the Prime Minister. So if you want to ask any questions, then we're going to be bringing around a mic, and then you could ask these questions and they would respond.
Let me just say it. Survey Hackshaw is the man who in Braxa who oversaw the construction of the temporary facility in South Rivers. And he knows the design well. And I expect that Braxa will put him on it so that we can move it faster, because he knows it inside out. And but he's from nearby, and if you meet him anyway, ask him and he will talk to you about that facility.
Right, so I now open the floor. We have a roaming mic, and anybody who wishes to ask a question or make a comment on the presentation tonight can do so now. This gentleman in front here has the mic, so you just raise your hand and he would pass the microphone to you. Doesn't necessarily have to be a question, but there can be things. Norman, I think there's one person on the distant, right here. Somebody, they had their hands up.
Will this facility have a living nurse at hand? Living?
I don't think that this current design has a staff facility, but as Ms. Bowman was saying, it is designed in such a way that we can put a facility on the top here. The main reason being that, and I'm seeing PM coming forward to address this issue. I know this is one of his issues that he like to talk on. So I'll let the PM respond on this.
You know, we build a number of facilities with nurses' quarters. And many of the facilities are not occupied by the nurses. Because you may have a nurse who is in Byera, working in Byera, but she has a husband or a partner in Prospect. She would rather stay in her house in Prospect. And we make it easy now for the civil servants and nurses and doctors to get their houses, because they don't have to pay any down payment at the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. 100% mortgage. So it's a difficulty which we have had. But I'm willing to put nurses' quarters there. One of the reasons why it's good if somebody lives in the nurses' quarters, you have somebody on call all the time. But after 5 o'clock, you may have a problem if they go in elsewhere. So it's a complicated issue of managing. It would be, in some cases, we have all day, all night staff. depending on the demand. So a facility like this is a big catchment area here. That might have to happen. But we come up against a shortage of nurses. We train a lot of nurses. But as soon as we train them and give them a little experience, many of them prefer to go to England or go to America. That don't mean they do better over there than here, you know. But it's a thing in human beings. The grass is always greener on the other side. You know? That's why some man leave the good woman and go for over the think the grass is greener over yonder. Is a thing inside. So that's how we have to balance it. But once we have the demand, we'd have to have shifts. I always say, well, Dr. Duncan knows this, and he has heard me on this before. In communities like ours, which have a good agricultural base, people get caught after the nurse leaves. How that is going to be dealt with, you know. Fortunately, if we don't have all day, all night service here, it's only 5 minutes to Georgetown, which has an all day, all night service. But this is a big catchment area of Roger, this place between Goss and Chester Cottage. You have over 2,000 people, you know. I know it. I mean, I know it's over 30 years I represent this constituency, and you'd expect me to know the numbers. It's a big catchment area. So that is something which we'll have to factor into. I just want to say one thing. I don't want the other constituencies to feel jealous. You notice Diamond, up in Greg's, they're repairing the clinic up there. They're fixing that up. A lot of things they're doing. They have to go to Richland Park. You know, went over Richland Park. Provide transport and take people. Mespo. Take people there. But this constituency is the only one where we're going to change. We're going to build a new one. Some people might just say, well, Georgetown is just up the road. Don't spend $700,000-800,000 on building a temporary one. Let people go Georgetown. Well, you can't send the people in the Prime Minister constituency from the village go Georgetown. The same thing in South Rivers. The word prime in front of minister must mean something. If it ain't mean anything, why is the sense being Prime Minister? But I don't want the other constituencies, them to get jealous about that. It's one of the privileges if you're represented by the Prime Minister. And you see it here, you see it in other things too. That's how it goes. Thank you.
Thank you again. So we have any other questions?
Yes.
Comments?
Oh, yes. Let's say good night to Prime Minister and all persons at the head table. It was indeed a Prime Minister. And the planner in health has been chairing this session well. And Miss or Mrs. Bowman, well, let's just say Bowman. Because we need to be careful these days to say Miss or Mrs. So I say Bowman. The presentation was good. You took us through the entire presentation. Just a few things. I want to endorse what Vanessa said. You have a situation where the old clinic had a nurses' quarter, except it's a general policy of the Ministry of Health and the government not to have living quarters. I would suggest that they do some adjustment and put in a living quarters. We have to plan for the future. Not because we don't have enough nurses now, but you have to plan for the future. That's one. Two, just my own curiosity. With the whole issue of green energy, and I'm trying to cut down on the money you pay to Vinlek. I don't know if I am not seeing well. But I see air condition on top, I see water tank on top, but I haven't seen any solar panel. I know those could be added later, but I'm just wondering if there are any thought given to solar panel. And the third point has to do with the playing field itself. Please, I play a little bit of cricket in my early days. You spoke about the city fence for the area in the Byera. But if we have to do anything at all to the park, to develop the park, there must be some city fence, or it doesn't make any sense. So there has to be city fence at the park itself.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have taken note of your, the issue of the staff quarters and the smart concept here that we are presenting. Yes, we are thinking about having some of these things incorporated. I'm not sure that the drawing has the solar panels, but for instance, when we are using AC units now, we use the inverter type units. When we're doing lights for facilities now, we use LED lights and so. When we're looking at refrigerators and stuff, we use low energy refrigerators and things like this. So yes, we'll be incorporating all of these, the smart concepts that we have learned from the PAHO Smart Hospital. And we're doing rainwater harvesting and so as well with taps that can shut off and so you don't open it up and keep it on. We press a knob, it gives you X amount of water, just enough for you to wash your hand. If you need more, you press again and that sort of thing. So we are looking at conservation and safety issues in all of these facilities that we are building now.
Okay, good night, everybody. Good night to you. Concerning the facility to where you're going to put the hospital, the clinic down to the Anglican building, you ask for ideas what you can do in that area. One of the things usually happen up here by the school is that Mr. Raxon and everybody know him as Plumber or Jacko, Orlando Jackson. They started a tennis, a grassroots, not even say grassroots, a lawn tennis program where children at the age from, I think he started from 6 years old to 12 years old learn to play lawn tennis. You know, like Rafa Nadal and Federer and these guys. They were here training children. But now we're in the countryside out here, we don't have a facility like that out here. So I'm asking, can this be put into your plan? That one can be put there so that the children can have somewhere that we can even train children to do this. Because with a racket in my hand, it's next to nothing. But a racket in Federer or Rafa Nadal hand is millions of dollars. And we have children that we can train in sports. And you mentioned about sports. There's another field in sports that we can push forward and push children through. Ms. Raxon, thank you. Mr. Raxon mentioned to me about someone who came to St. Vincent as a child, was trained here in St. Vincent as a child, and now is worldwide, making it big. And he started here as a child. So I'm saying, if he can come to St. Vincent and start as a child, can't we train our own as the same?
In relation to in relation to what we finally will decide down there, and I thought I'd raise it also with Tyrone, but Tyrone spoke a little earlier. We will have a full conversation as to how we will use all the land. I must tell you this, there's a good young man from over in, I think Newgrounds was doing, you know, you're building ballistas there. And he asked me if he could stay. I told him that that activity will not be consistent with what we have in mind. That we can get somewhere else for him to do his work. In other words, we have to keep the space. When we see, we'd have to have a master plan. You know what I mean, brethren? What you're saying there may well be in the master plan. But we have to get all the ideas and we get a professional to plan it out. And we present that plan, a draft plan after conversation. Then you look at it and then we see how we can elaborate it and finalize it. So I want you all to stay engaged with that because I want us to do something good there. Thanks.
Before we take the next question there, I just want to recognize the presence of the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health. I did not see him sitting next to the nurse there in the dark, but P.S. Knights is here with us and he may be able to take and answer some of these questions as well.
Hi, good night.
Night.
PM, I would like you to look into the preschool that we have there at Byera. Currently, there's no preschool for our children to attend to. Okay? Yes, if you could get some assistance, I'm sure you can play concerning us getting a preschool in Byera.
Absolutely. Yes. Oh, he's back. Absolutely. Tyrone had raised it with me and I had asked for an estimate. I've asked Bragsa. I asked Ken Bartholomew to send somebody, the head of Bragsa, to look at it because I'd like us to put money in it and restore it and make it even better than it was before. So we are. Oh, well, Survey is just telling me here that the estimate was done. An assessment, you did the estimate? Okay, assessment was done. But I want to know how much money because it's coming up now to budget time. So if I get the estimate survey, I could put it in the budget, but I want to get it done. Thanks for raising it. Very important. Many persons may not think that this is an important matter, but if you have private preschools, people charge $80, $100, $120 or more per month. How much now?
300.
300 now it reach. Well, you see, I was talking about what they were charging in Park Hill before we fix up one up there. And when you, apart from the educational benefit and the development of the child, it allows the mother to be able to go to work. So it's apart from the child, it's a woman's empowerment issue too, and we must get on it. You doing the estimate, Survey? All right, so we say he's doing the estimate. All right, thank you.
Okay. Next question, comment.
Nice, everyone.
Nice.
I think we need to address the matter that has expect for Canary. There needs to be a bus shed at Canary because as a school child, like myself, when there is heavy rain, I can't shelter nowhere. I have to be in the rain. And you know, books are expensive, so I can't be in the rain and have my books all soaked with rainwater. Yes, and I also have another topic, but this one might go astray. There are too many children on the street, especially in the area between Connery to Georgetown. They are social workers, but I think they are slacking. You need to get them on track. It hurts my heart to see children being abused, misused, and there need to be counselors as well because not in every home a child would have someone they trust to talk to. A child sometimes would prefer a stranger over family members. Needs to address that matter and take them off the road. Go back, look at Matthew. You need to lock up the parents. Lock them up. Lock them up. Yes. It pains my heart to see children, young children on the street begging. You need to have police on patrolling too. Yes, there's issue with vans and there's a lot of issues. As a college student, there are some vans they want you to lap up, and when you address that matter to them, they want to fight you. I think you need to address that matter. There needs to be a police standing at the gap because I do have late classes and sometimes I reach home after 8 minutes to 7. As a female, sometimes there would be me alone standing there at the gap and I don't feel safe as a female knowing what is happening nowadays days. There needs to be a police officer standing at the gap so that I can feel safe.
So this is the gap at Villa you're talking about when you're
Yes,
coming
at the
out?
Villa campus, SVGCC Community College.
Okay.
Now, in relation to the bus stop, 2 designs have been presented to me. And the question of the location. There, let me come there because it's...
Yes, because I noticed there are a lot of people who are afraid to address this matter. So I am the one who will be speaking out for those who are afraid to speak out.
Now, in relation to the bus stop, I want to deal with the issues as you raised them. There are 3 possible places over, when you're going to town, over the bridge. There are some persons who are advocating that the bus stop be put immediately as you come out from the road from Bellevue, from Park Hill. From a safety standpoint, that's a problem. There are some who want to put it on a parcel of land which, you know, there's either on the right side or the left side of the road going down to the Warricans. That also may create a difficulty when people speed in because it's very close to the road itself. The question is, and I want to hear your view on this, whether we shouldn't put it in a corner. As you go down, you know where Nora who died, you know where Nora lived? Nola, you know where Nola lived? Nola Lawrence?
Yes.
Good. There's a parcel of land there. But put it a little inland from the road because a lot of the drivers come up along there very fast. There will be a bus stop. But where you think is the best location?
I agree with you.
You agree with me?
Yes,
okay.
please.
All right. I'm glad to hear that. That's what I was advocating. As a man from Conner, know the place well. The second thing about the children, there are issues with persons who are employed in the Ministry of Social Development. Some very good people and some who are not doing as well as they should. But one of the things we have to make sure that we inculcate when we're dealing with children is parents. I'll tell you something. I want to put it a little wider than the issue which you have raised. Let's say your performance in school. Your performance depends, your optimal performance, okay, your effort, that's taken for granted. Certain minimum facilities, and more or less you have that, basic facilities. You need quality school leadership, quality teaching, and quality parenting. So that's the analysis. So we started a program for parents to talk to parents as to how to be better parents. Got professionals to do it. Unfortunately, the people who came to these parenting classes were persons who were already overwhelmingly pretty good parents and wanted to know how they could be better. That the parents who were poor parents, they stayed away. So the issue raised with parenting is a complicated one. The first obligation of a parent is to take care of the child and love the child. You get love, and once you have love at home, or your parents sometimes might be harsh on you and so on, but you get love and you get care. So that matter helps you in your advancing. You will see somebody else who is in the same socioeconomic position like you, but gone astray as a child because the parent is not offering reasonably good parentage. So while you went to the issue of the social worker, and I agree with that, you need those persons to have their interventions, but we have to raise the question honestly and straightforwardly that we must have better parenting. From the men and from the women. So the issue which you raised is a very good one. The one I will discuss with the Commissioner of Police this question you raised about having somebody. The Calico Police patrols. Sometimes they patrol in uniform, sometimes they patrol without uniform. In addition to the Calico Police, the RRU also patrols. Of course, in addition to the patrols, not to get rid of those, I'd ask him about the question of, I would tell him that a community college complained in Byera that it would be helpful, she will feel more safe if they have a policeman at that area, particularly on the evenings you're talking about.
Yes.
From around what time so you think is best?
From 3 p.m.
As early as 3 p.m.?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, I will ask, no, they say it's too early, but maybe you're not wrong. But I will ask the commissioner. But hear me this too. One of the problems also we have, you at the community college, and you would have seen it, which secondary school you went to?
Me?
Yeah.
I went to the Georgetown Secondary School.
You went to Georgetown Secondary. Well, you probably might not have had that problem at Georgetown. But a lot of students cluster after school and don't want to go home. I pass many times and see the students from the community college liming long after. I ain't saying that you mustn't lime, you know. But you have to make judgments yourself also. I know students who go to the community college, some of them. They have a class at 12 o'clock. If they go in secondary school, they would have been in school since 8 o'clock, 8:15. But they and their friends will go on Villa Beach for 2, 3, 4 hours and lime. Could have spent it inside of the library, in a safer environment. The point I'm making here, and I come back to what I talked about first, all the interventions you made, I take them aboard. But we also have to watch individuals, how they address their own responsibilities, parents and also students. Individual responsibility, very important. But I go talk to the commission about the issue which you raised. You're doing CAPE or you're doing the associate degree?
Associate degree.
This is your first year?
Second.
Second year. You know how many national scholarships, national exhibitions, bursaries and special awards I'm giving this year?
I can't remember the exact number, but it's a
I'm,
lot.
I'm giving 105. The first time it reached anyway that number. 33 national scholarships. And I want you to understand this. A national scholarship is for 5 years. And it's benchmark at the highest point. If you do medicine in Barbados, this is $600,000. It doesn't mean that every national scholar will spend $600,000. The medical students will. If you go and do a first degree and then you do a master's, do the 5 years, it might be $350,000. I pay for all your university expenses, your boarding, your lodging, and I give you extra money inside of your hand. Millions and millions of dollars. And then the national exhibitions is 3 years. And bursaries is $25,000 a year for 3 years. And then special awards of different kinds. 105. When I came to office, there were 4 national scholarships. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There used to be 2. I know you want the next question. Unfortunately for you, I have a mouth and I talk in here to my student. You hear me? You don't like this one, eh? Yeah, you don't like this one. All right. If it burn you, sorry. Is what is happening. When I came, there were 4. And some people would like the next question. But let me add what I wasn't going to say. But since he said you want the next question, I'll let him hear this one. It used to be 2. Then the child of one NDP government minister come third, so they give a third. A fourth one, a few years later, came fourth in the exam, so they give a fourth. I'm only sorry that they didn't get more who come 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th. If that bun who want tell me, next question, let bun them. Thank you very much.
Good night. Good night.
Good night. Go ahead.
I welcome the new clinic, the proposed clinic. I think it has been long in coming. I suspect that it is coming equipped with all the modern amenities to serve the people of Byera and the surrounding areas. I don't live here, but I'm a born and bred Byera man. I grew up here, so I follow the issues from a distance. And I've always maintained an interest in the growth and development and advancement of the people of Byera. So, Mr. Prime Minister, I have two questions. First of all, a playing field for Byera. I've always been wondering why Byera has not gotten modern playing fields. We see the development and creation of playing fields all across St. Vincent. We can look at the neighboring communities, Park Hill, South Rivers. I mean, I was surprised South Rivers got a playing field, given the density of that community. You know, I mean, it was like moving heaven and earth to provide a playing field in South Rivers. And I understand all the challenges, the availability of lands and other issues associated with getting a playing field in Byera. So I would like to know if there are any plans to develop a playing field somewhere in Byera to ensure that the youths are engaged and you know, we know the importance of a playing field to help to bring the community together, give the youngsters an area where they can put out their energies, okay? So that's the first question, that's the first issue I have. The second one is, I'm wondering if there is anything that can be done to the road in the lower part of Byera, closer to the bayside. And there are climate change issues, but I'm just wondering in the meantime, because flesh and blood people are still living there. You know, there are some people from Byera to Mangrove and Goss, they live close to the bayside there. And the road is in a terrible condition. When it rains, it's very difficult to walk and traverse those areas. So, Mr. Prime Minister, I want to know if, given all the climate change issues, if anything can be done in the interim to really provide easy access and a lot of comfort for those people that live lower down Byera flat, from Byera go down to Mangrove. Those are my two issues.
Thank you very much. What we are looking at is to see if we can rescue Goss. The only other place we may get land, and you all can advise me, is if we go for a piece of land higher up, going up into Mount William, which is a little away from I believe that we should try to see how we can revive Goss. In relation to the road down to the bottom, I've also spoken to Braggs about it. We're doing lots of roads all over the country, and every piece of road is important, and that one also is important. But what I say to Braggs all the time, if you don't have the resources to do what is required to do concreting or paving with asphalt, throw a lot of rubber stuff, roll it, and drain the area. So that, as the brother says, you can have a temporary relief. And I think that is not an unreasonable request. Now, we have to find more land for persons on the bottom side because a problem down there is a challenge from the raging seas. We move some people, we move, 30-something persons, carry them to Manning Village. Problem also down in Connery, we had to find some and build some on higher ground. But I agree with you that in the meantime they should do something temporarily with that area. Insofar as the playing field in South Rivers actually has a population of about 1,500 people. Persons think that South Rivers is just the area when they drive through. But they have a lot of people going up Kettle's Peace, a lot of people going up Hog Hole, a lot of people who are going up at Jarvis, a lot of people who live going up to where they have the Geku has the touristic facility there. So it's quite a large community also. And it is true that in South Rivers, we had to do something by diverting a stream and move 2 houses, well, really 3. One of them was a small shack to deal with that particular area. But I think the place where we need to invest is the one at Goss to see how we can improve that. And Tyrone is correct, we'd have to do sea defense there. One of the problems which we have in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is that we have a mountainous country. And we have a lot of floods and landslides. Make it difficult for people to live. In fact, we move Raymond and other people down from the Bayside, and we carry them up in Manning Village. And as the good Lord will have it, Raymond ain't dead down a Bayside, but the thing wash away and go from the top and come straight to his house and bury him inside of there. And as you know, Raymond is my family. And one of the problems with our development, and I'm glad he raised the issue of climate change. Since 2001, when I came to office, I have had to deal with 12 significant natural disasters, including 21 volcanic eruptions in 1 month, April 2020. And I also had to deal with COVID, 2021. Also had to deal with COVID in 2020. And a small, vulnerable country, you have to deal with certain issues with a greater urgency which affect life and limb. Like, for instance, we spent 15 years ago, more than that, we spent $2 million to encase the Byera tunnel because it was falling down. But that represented a direct assault on people's lives and safety. And there are lots of demands, but you have to, out of the pot of resources you have to prioritize. I have my own wish list too. Everybody has. But then we have to address the issue of the resources available. Right here in front of us, we have just announced here an investment of $4 million. The significant investment is needed. We are talking about another investment, which is going to be much more than that, for the development of a community space down in the area, which we have bought from the Anglican Church, and so on and so forth. But I appreciate the comments, what the brother has made. Thank you.
So we seem to have another comment or question.
President, good night to everyone.
Good night.
Prime Minister, this is a comment concerning the people in Manning Village. The first week in September, my son taking sick, and he had to go to the hospital. He went to the hospital and came back home, and then he took sick again. And he couldn't walk this time to go to the taxi. And then getting him from my home to the road is a very difficult task because of the road. The road really badly in need of because
which way you live?
Aneta.
Aneta,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, there's a problem there with the road.
When the ambulance came for him the night, the early morning, because it was after 1, the ambulance also get punctured to get to where we live in, which he can't come up there, but he was trying to reach as far as possible.
You have one of the 2-bedroom house?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So we desperately in need of a fixing of the road, even though it's a 8 feet a 2-wheel truck or something like that, so people could get to move, because when rain comes, we can't get out of our home to go to road.
I know the problem. I discussed it also again with Braxa. So if you here, one of the things which we can do there is to take the bulldozer and clear the place, and again put Rabaka some part and do some cement in another part. So I just want to, I don't know, the people came by you and organized for you to get your deed? Okay. Just want to tell you, one of the things in politics, you'll hear about the road, which you ain't do yet, up there, up that high. But you wouldn't hear that are giving all the deeds up there free. Are giving them, they don't have to pay 1 cent for the houses. You hear me? And there's 30-something houses up there. So I would like, when you talk to over the road, thank me very much for giving you a free house.
A pleasant good night. A pleasant good night to everyone. What I'm going to say might not what Byera people want to hear, but honestly, I'm going to speak the truth. We are spending a lot of money economically building clinics, hospitals, doing everything. I know the playing field at the bottom of Goss. Yes, it is good. We need sports. But if we are going to put monies into that playing field over a period of time, we are actually putting it into the sea. So, is it possible for us to move the village from down at the bottom, just acquire the lands that are in Macraking, because the best piece of road in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is the piece from by Bucky's Breadnut to the bottom of Byera there. That's the best piece of road in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. All it needs there is just lights and probably water reach Macraking, so it might be more economical if we could put monies, acquire the space, use it for a facility, for wherever playing field, and as well make it into a village where everybody can live. We always get bitten by sandflies. Me too. So everywhere I go, I walk with something to keep the sandfly off my skin. Nothing is wrong. But why put monies into the seawater when we have to build a city fence that's going to cost us $15 million? And I'm sure it's not going to take $15 million for the government to acquire the lands up there, build houses, and build a facility.
It's a useful suggestion. But even if we go and you're talking about robbing land on the left side of the road, that's the road they're talking about up Macracken? Yeah. the left side by Robin from McFarlane. Robin Harry. Yeah, that's why I'm asking. Let me ask, if you have a playing field on Robin land, you think persons would leave Byera and go up there?
They might walk go up Byera, they might walk go Munchong for sports.
No.
There.
I'm asking. I'm not. Listen, the way I approach suggestions, I turn them inside out and ask questions, because you would have different suggestions, and I'm sure that whatever the suggestions you have, you're going to have some downside. That is in the nature of the kind of the lands which we have. In any event, we need to do sea defenses along the entire northeast coast, but you can only do it bit by bit, because if you don't, I'm telling you, sister, if you don't do the sea defense there, I go dead and gone. But you might see it in another 15 years, 20 years, where the cricket pitch is, or where the cricket pitch was, sea go come up there. I saw a 1947 map of Georgetown. There was an aerial survey done in 1947. One was then done in 1972. And since we're in office, we have done 3 aerial surveys. And we had to do, in order to map, to see where we put the sea defense in Georgetown and also in Caratal, going down near Bronxtown area. A cricket pitch length is 22 yards. We lost between 1947 and now over 70 yards, more than 3 cricket pitches in length. In other words, in my lifetime, because I was born in 1946, in my lifetime, we have lost that amount of land there. I'm sure if we do a similar study and did it with the historical data, we will find all along the way. We have lost a lot of land along the coast in Byera and in Connery. You remember the amount, when I was a young boy, the amount of fat pork and grape tree you had, and them all gone. Which reverts to the issue of the climate change, which the brother is. But the comrade sisters put forward the suggestion of the land up at McCracken. And I'd like to hear, not necessarily tonight, because tonight is not the be-all and end-all of everything. The world won't come to an end tomorrow. We're still around, we could talk about it. And to see what is the reaction for that. One thing I know for sure, whether it is now, in the next 5 years or so, or in another 20 years, the village will move all the way to up there. So we're going to have a village. You may be ahead of your time, my dear sister. You understand what I mean? But I believe the village would move up there, because there's nowhere else for the village to grow. It has to grow inland. And even if the population doesn't increase, the population in fact is stagnating, because women between the ages of 25 and 40 having far less children now than they had in years before. Even though the population is stagnating, people out of a house where there are 3 children in the house. The 3 children want their own home. Of course, many are going into town, but a lot of them, like me, prefer to live in the country. In my case, as you know, I live in the bush of grass, and I'm happy up there. But I think also the village will move up there, if not immediately. And you may well be ahead of your time with that. But there's a suggestion which is made. I think we must give it all the seriousness, give it serious consideration with which it is presented. Thanks very much, sister, for the suggestion.
Do we have any more questions, comments?
Well, if there are no more questions, I just want to add this in relation to the last comment made by the sister. We see how the village spreading. Historically, people tended to live closer to the coast. In 1980, Hurricane Allen mashed up down the bottom. And when Vincent Beach was the representative, he got lands from Victor Hadley, Montreal, and the piece where the new village on the left-hand side coming up above the burial ground. Look at how that village has built up, and that is, I must do deed for about half of those lands. Certainly, if not half, I believe 1/3. By the way, I did deed them free for people to get their deeds for those lands when I was used to practice as a lawyer. And that village has grown. We see how the village has grown above where Nato has his church, Nathaniel Williams, all the way up. And that is what is happening. So the sister's suggestion, she prefaced it by saying that Byera people may not like what she said, but it is a suggestion which is accord with what has been happening, a migration inland. Of course, there's been a lot of migration towards the city because the biggest areas, the largest populated areas in the country between Ryland Hill and Stubbs. That is the big area. Most of the people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines live in those areas. In fact, South Leeward and East St. George are the 2 largest constituencies in the country, 7,000 and something people. North Central, this constituency is the smallest one, It's 5,000 and something people, this one. It's sprawled out, but the population has been stagnating. In numbers, that is, has been increasing. Well, throughout the whole country. But there's a lot of internal migration. So don't dismiss the sister's suggestion, what she made. Give it serious thought. I give it serious thought too. Come.
Good night, everybody. You are the best Prime Minister, and I love you.
Thank you.
PM, a favor I'm asking you. I'm living in Connery, where above Miss Grant, where you give out the pieces of land up there, and they put in some street lights. And I'm asking if I can get one, please, because that's my son and I. He's 11, my husband is on ship, and it's very dark going up there.
You have a pole near to you?
I have the number here.
Well, bring the pole. Bring the pole number, give me. Bring the pole number, give me.
Well, you can see that she came very, very prepared for this. She know what she wanted. She know the information she needed to have. All right.
You know, I want to point out to my friends, my comrades, people of Byera. Roads, construction of roads is very expensive. You see the roads I doing in Connery, the lands to open up the lands? Yeah. It's $6.5 million. A lot of money for roads. The roads which we're doing at the back of Georgetown and with the drains is over $8 million. They're very, very expensive. And what I'm saying, we spread the resources. Well, I certainly like to spread the resources throughout the various communities to make sure that every area gets a reasonable share of the resources. But there are some things, like the road down the bottom, if even you don't get to it, survey, right now, we can do something about it. So you must talk to Kem Gibeng. All right? I spoke to him already. All right? Because when it rains, there are puddles in particular areas.
Okay, thank you very much, PM, for that response and that final question there. We had a good evening, I think. You think we had a good evening, eh? So you guys satisfied with the designs we came? I know you made some suggestions that we should add, but are you satisfied generally with what is being presented here for your new health center in Byrea? All right, so Ms. Bowman, with the few additions that we heard, right, we'd like to proceed with this facility here.
Let me just, Tyrone had raised something. I want to, Tyrone still there? Or Tyrone gone home? All right. The point I want to make, I was making earlier, and I want to amplify it. We have fixed up, and I think the nurses know that too. And the permanent secretary could confirm this, and I think Roger will confirm this, Dr. Duncan, because he's the medical officer of health who is responsible for all the clinics in the country, the community health services. And Sister Russell, who is head of the nursing for the communities, for all the clinics. They're here. We have fixed up a lot of nurses' quarters. But many of those quarters, we fix them up, they remain locked up, and they deteriorate because the nurse who is there doesn't want to go to stay there. They want to stay in their own house. No, my brother. No. It's not that they're working with themselves. A nurse has a husband and has a family. They want to live in the house which they buy or which they're paying for. You see the point I'm making? Listen, I know when I was a boy, listen to me, when I was a boy, the nurse in Connery, she was a single woman. She come from Lowman. She loved to stay in the one room which they had at Connery Clinic. Nurses it's easier now for nurses to get mortgages because of the policy of the government. And one unintended consequence of that is that many of them do not want to stay in the nurses' quarters. Now hear me this. I'm talking about practical problem. The other thing is this. We tend to want to have our nurses who are midwives in the clinics, nurse midwives. Isn't that so, Sister Russell? Nurse midwives are scarce. If you do like what you say, to tell the nurse midwife, you have to stay inside of this or you don't have a job, you'll be taken to court, the government, or they will just ignore you and go to England or go to Barbados or go to Tortola, where nurse midwives are also scarce, and they just lock them up. I have to deal with practical problems in the real world. And you got to trust my judgment on this, comrade. It's something which I've dealt with many, many times. I've tried to find which and every which way. Where it's more likely you will get a nurse to stay in is a mature nurse who doesn't have any husband or mate, or a young nurse. But very often the communities would not want to have a young nurse by herself, somebody who just graduated a few years. They want somebody a little more seasoned to be in the communities, where they can have the supervision. It's a complicated issue. So that there are places in which we have nursing quarters and those which we do not. In this clinic, I want to tell you this. We can put a nursing quarters on top of the new clinic, and there's provision for it to be done. But it is going to cost $1 million EC more. You hear what I'm saying? If you get an all-night service and then you have nursing shifts, it solves the problem, because what you want is not so much a nurse who is living there, but a nurse who is on service. That's the critical question. This is the point I'm making. I want to join the chairman, Lachim, for, first of all, for you to turn out on a Wednesday. I know, for me, last night I was in Parliament up till 11 o'clock. I waited until the police organized for the staff at the House of Assembly, who are, almost every one of them is women, to make sure that arrangements were made for them to go home. So I didn't leave the Parliament building until midnight, because I wasn't going until the ladies who work there safely going home. I got up 4 o'clock this morning. I did work in my study. I went on radio for 2 hours. Then I went to cabinet from 10 o'clock until 4 o'clock. And I go home tonight. I have a speech to write, so that it will be typed up tomorrow, which I have to deliver in Grenada. On Thursday, I have to write another one in the night, which I have to deliver in St. Lucia. Now, I come back to the issue of working hard and working smart. I want to urge you, just like how the young sister who is a student, she has to work hard and smart in order to get a scholarship. Of course, this year, I give 2,000 tuition scholarships. By the way, in North Central, there are 115 persons from North Central got tuition scholarships. Everyone who applied from North Central got tuition scholarships to go to university. And we are turning them out in large numbers. Several of the young people inside of here either have university degrees or go into university. Long ago, in the whole country, you could have counted them on two hands. And by 2030, we are on track for one college university graduate per household in this country. A remarkable outcome of the education revolution. This year, I'm spending over nearly $50 million on the community college and university education. As much as I'm spending on police, and as much I'm spending on all the hospital services in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So when I talk about this thing, the young people here, study your book. Have a healthy mind inside of a healthy body. Build yourself for a profession. The world is changing fast. And if you are 22 years old now, ask yourself what you're going to be in 2050 when you are 48. Ask yourself that question. If you don't ask yourself that question and answer it positively, and embark on a program, and the opportunities are there, I've made those opportunities available, life is going to be more difficult for you. Government has its responsibility, but you and your family, in solidarity with one another, also you have your responsibility. I will do my part. I want you to do your part, and we do it in communion with one another. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister. I want to formally do a vote of thanks here. So, Honorable Prime Minister, I thank you for coming and sharing your insights and vision as usual, being part of this process here this evening. This is Shiaka Bowman for an excellent presentation. And I know that you're going to continue to work with us in the Ministry of Health on this project and on other projects and get them completed so that the residents of each of these communities can be satisfied. Miss Jasmine Spencer, the head teacher here, for giving us a word of prayer this evening and for assisting with all the logistics and tolerating us for the last couple of days. And indeed, last week when we were here, Mr. Ricardo Frederick and myself was in charge of planning this event. He is not here, but I want to thank Ricky and his entire economic planning team. I think we may have some persons from finance and foreign affairs that would have been with us, that are here with us, and would have helped in the setting up here today as well. Mr. Morris, Dylan Morris, I can't remember if I said his name, but Mr. Morris was instrumental in us setting up here as well. The persons responsible for the sound system, the Braxa team, Ivo and his team for the screen in which we saw the excellent presentation. The Ministry of Health team, of course, that is here supporting me. And then we had some other members of the Ministry of Health team, Shanika, and so from the public health, the health promotion team. They were out here doing the on-the-ground promotion for the entire day, promoting the activity and trying to get you to come out to this important event. Ladies and gentlemen, residents of the area, I want to thank you very much for coming out and supporting us here. So, thank you very much for coming out again. Please get home safely. Thanks very much, everyone. Thanks again. Good night.